Episode 79 of the Marketing Life podcast. This is Taylor Timothy, your host. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about email marketing, and I'm giving you guys an email marketing checklist that basically can help you guys go through your email marketing and see how you can best leverage it. And obviously, I'm going to share more tips and tricks. So let's not waste any more time and dive right in. So, guys, first off, with email marketing and doing your email campaign, we're going to talk about the actual setup process. So obviously you guys need to select some sort of CRM like Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign. The truth be told is which one works for you. There, in my opinion, there's tons of them out there. There's tons of great ones. So the truth is just figure out which one works for you. The next thing you need to do is make sure that your forms are actually linking up to your CRM that you're using, because if it's not, then obviously people are going to be downloading your stuff or giving you their information and you're not going to be collecting it, which is going to cause problems. The next thing you need to do, in my opinion, is you need to create lists for every single offer that you are setting up. So for example, I've been giving away tons of checklists in all these last podcasts that you guys have been listening to, and I actually have a list for every single one of these offers. So once you have all of those lists created, next thing you got to make sure is that you're going to be receiving the emails, or they're going to be receiving the emails after they opt in. So you just need to make sure that that system is working. So following that, you're going to create some sort of email automation sequence. So some CRMs out there allow you to send text, email, things like that. You need to figure out a strategy that works for you, but you're going to go in and create that automation sequence. The next thing you're going to do is just set up the date and time for delivery. So do you want them to receive it 1 day after, 3 days after, 5 days after? Obviously, go figure out what works again with you. Inside of those emails that you're sending, you got to make sure that you're being creative and have a great subject line. The next thing is the pre-header. So the pre-header follows the subject line. If you want, you can do a customized one, or it will just pull the information from the email that you're sending. The next thing that I do personally is a lot of CRMs at the very bottom, they have a footer where you can link all of your social media and things like that. The reason why I delete these is I don't want people to go to my social media accounts. The reason why is I want people going to my website. The website is where people get sold. In my opinion, use social media to drive traffic from those things to your website. Your website is your hub. That's the generator of sales. The next thing you need to do is connect analytics to your CRM. The reason why is you want to see what types of traffic the email marketing is actually generating for you. So if you send out an email blast, you want to know how many people came to your website from your email to, and so on and so forth. The next thing is export your list frequently and upload them to Google Paid Ads if you've spent $20,000, or upload them to Facebook that you can do immediately. The next thing you guys need to do is do some A/B tests for your emails, and again, see what is going to get you guys more clicks. As far as the email strategies go, what I just recommend is your campaign goal or objective needs to be very clear. So what I mean by that is, like, when you're sending out an email, make sure to have a goal in mind with that email with a call to action. So don't just be like, da-da-da-da-da, my name's so-and-so. Oh yeah, go download this and then schedule a phone call with me and then do this. Again, just be very clear with your message when you send out your emails. So if you have the email say, okay, I want this email I want it to get me scheduled phone calls, then that's your call to action. That's what you're going to be talking about in the email. If you want someone to download something else, then that's the objective of the email, and talk about that exactly. So the next thing with emails, a lot of people overthink it, in my opinion. Just create emails that tell stories and bring value. And how I look at it is just don't forget to be yourself, especially if you're doing emails for your own personal brand. Just keep it short to the point and just be yourself. The next thing with emails, I always recommend using emojis in the subject line. For me, it just stands out more than everybody else's emails if you're putting emojis inside of your subject lines. And then inside of your emails, a lot of times I'll use emojis as well to highlight those links. So that's just some small tips and tricks that I've found to help open rates and click-through rates. So the campaign needs to be scheduled for a strategic time and day. So I put this in here because you might find that it depends on the business really, but you might find that a specific time and day works better than others. So figure that out. If it does, sometimes it doesn't, and it doesn't really matter. They still get open no matter what. So potentially this could be a huge thing for your business. The next thing that I always recommend is do an email at least biweekly and keep them up to date. So a lot of times people will build out an entire automation and then all of a sudden they'll stop emailing these people and they don't keep them up to date. Then they forget about them and then they unsubscribe. So make sure that you're constantly emailing these people, not every single day, right? Unless you're bringing so much value that it's insane. But at least bi-weekly, you need to be sending emails out to these people. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is just the content in your email. So some things I always recommend is basically all the text and images have been replaced. Like make sure if you're using a template that you've gone in and replaced all those things. Honestly, I've seen people send emails on accident with having old text and then old images, and it just causes problems, right? It kind of creates a lack of trust, essentially. And then the next thing, make sure you have alternative text for the images that they've been set. So it's just making you look clean and branded across the board. The one thing I know I've done personally in my campaigns and it caused problems, and this next one is links. Make sure they've been added to the buttons. Make sure the images have links and the logos have links. If they click those things, again, like I said, the goal is to get them off your email and get them to your website. But just make sure you have the right links linking to these different things. Next thing is basically make sure you have a call to action that is clearly identifiable and aligns with the goal of the campaign. So it kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier. If the call to action is schedule a phone call with me, be talking about that in the email and have that call to action. Don't call them to action for download this, schedule a call for this. Again, it's super confusing. The next thing that I always recommend is keeping these emails short and to the point. So I have seen some emails that are very long and drawn out. And for me personally, and for my brand personally, I found that just keeping the emails short and to the point definitely helps things out. Because people don't want to open this and go, oh my gosh, this is a Bible story. They just want to be like, what's this guy talking about? Okay, sweet. So be short and to the point. And last but not least, do not be boring. If you're boring in your emails, people just don't freaking care. So the next thing we're going to talk about is just once you have this entire process set up, there's some things that you need to test. So I always say test the preview for desktop, mobile, and tablet. Do a test send on the email. Send it to your wife or your brother or your sister or your dog if he has an email. And just make sure the email is actually working, the links are working and functioning properly. Make sure you have solid image sizes. And then once it's set up, man, it's just going to run. So the next thing with monitoring the engagement metrics and results of your email, there are two things I always recommend. Shoot for a 20% open rate or higher, and then shoot for a 4% click-through rate. So if you're hitting those metrics, to me, at that point, you're doing well, your campaigns are doing well, and you're doing what you need to be doing with your email. So thanks, guys, for listening to episode 79, Email Marketing. More than anything, guys, just don't be boring and just keep them short and sweet and to the point. I found that to be the most important thing and most effective thing with email. If you guys want to learn some small tips and tricks with email and learn how to actually increase your click-through rates and open rates and things like that, go over and check out my online marketing master course where I'll show you guys how I personally do it and how I generate the leads and sales and results for my clients. So thanks guys for listening, and peace.